If you're watching this video, you're probably thinking of buying a laptop this year. Maybe you already began looking for the right one. Before you spend hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars on a shiny new laptop, let me tell you this. Buying a laptop in 2025 kinda sucks, and here's the harsh truth of why that's the case. First off, let's talk about what you're actually paying for. Laptops have gotten more expensive year by year. I'm sure you've noticed that. But the actual performance gains are barely noticeable for the average user. You will often see flashy marketing with big names, like Intel Core Ultra or AI-powered Ryzen chips, which sound cool on paper, and you might think, oh, I'm getting a powerful computer. Only for you to realize you're about to drop more than $1,000 for a computer with just 8GB of RAM and a 255GB SSD, which is soldered in, so you can't even upgrade it later. Talk about a buzzkill, by the way. Also, don't get me started on thermals. I'm not a huge MacBook fan, I'll tell you that, but their ARM CPUs manage to stay impressively cool. Meanwhile, for the CPUs in Windows laptops, which increasingly try to be more thin and sleek, like MacBooks, they'll already have like 7 Chrome tabs. But hey, at least they look cool in ads. Speaking of ads, let's talk about AI. If you've looked at laptops in 2025, you've definitely heard the term AI PC, from Apple Intelligence to Microsoft Copilot. Microsoft and chip makers for Windows laptops are pushing this hard, but the real truth is it's just a buzzword. These AI laptops come with something called an NPU that sorts out with AI tasks. But unless you're running Microsoft Recall, which is really spying on your activity and disabled by default on most laptops, or doing very specific creative work like AI video editing or photo editing, these AI features are utterly useless. I mean it, useless. They just sound cool and add a couple hundred more to the price tag. I mean, congrats, your laptop can upscale a blurry photo a bit faster. But is that really worth the expense? No. Now, if you're thinking about getting a budget laptop, think again, because many Windows laptops under 500 is disguised e-waste at that point. Look at that budget, just get a Chromebook, let's be honest right here. A lot of them use eMMC storage, which is just disguised flash memory that is very slow, the type of storage you would find in USB drives, for example. These budget laptops only have like less than 4GB of RAM often, which is not nearly enough today, let's be honest. TN panels with terrible viewing angles and super weak CPUs. These laptops, although cheap, they are still basically painful to use in like simple tasks like YouTube or spreadsheets. And also it's better if you spend a bit more for a more future-proof machine. And if you really want a budget option, just get a Chromebook at that point. Chromebooks, they get the job done. They're not that expensive. There's a reason why a bunch of schools use them. And here's another problem that not enough people talk about. Everything is just soldered now. RAM, soldered. SSD, also soldered. So when your laptop slows down because 4GB isn't enough anymore in the future, or your storage fills up, you can't just open it back up and just upgrade it. You're stuck. You basically just bought an expensive 2-year rental. Let's just assume that the thermal paste doesn't dry and make your CPU thaw even faster, because many people don't even bother to maintain their laptops in the first place. Honestly, I miss the days when you could just grab a screwdriver, pop in some extra RAM, and make your machine last longer. Now, unless you're buying from a few brands that still support upgrades, like gaming laptops or like business laptops, you're basically locked in with specs you had on purchase day, which is pretty terrible. So I made it sound all doom and gloom, but what can you actually do if you want to buy a new laptop in this day and age? Well, if you're planning to buy a laptop in 2025, do your homework. Look up teardowns. Check if the RAM or SSD are upgradable. Watch user reviews, not just the sponsored ones, by the way. And if you're not going to do any like AI tasks or like any AI applications, then don't waste your money on a laptop just because CPU or it says like an AI CPU or something. It's not worth the expense, let's be real. Also, this is super underrated, by the way. Sometimes better to buy last year's flagship than this year's mid-range model. A 2023 or 2024 high-end laptop will still destroy a 2025 mid-tier model in most tasks. And also usually get better port selection, better cooling, sometimes even upgrade options. Especially with gaming laptops. Like, with these prices, I say a last generation model could also be pretty competitive in this day and age. So yeah, buying a laptop in 2025 is kinda rigged. And that's a harsh truth. But thing is, you gotta know what you're doing, or you get burned. No pun intended. These companies know how to make laptops look premium and good in ads, while cutting corners where it actually matters the most in day-to-day life and performance. Anyways, that's it. If this video helped you out, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm a small YouTuber trying to grow my channel. I'm like high school, so I really appreciate it, and see you next time.